Hey, this is David Plotz, CEO of CityCast. I have a favor to ask before we get to today's conversation. We're doing our annual listener survey, and it would really help us out if you took it. And even if you took it last year, we'd be grateful if you took it again, because we can't use last year's data. Please go to citycast.fm/survey to take the survey. It's only 7 minutes long, we know, because we timed it. That's citycast.fm/survey. And when you take the survey, you'll also be eligible to win a $250 Visa gift card and CityCast swag, that great CityCast swag. citycast.fm/survey.
It's a new year, and literary powerhouse Black Mountain Institute at UNLV is back with new free programs for everyone in Las Vegas. This season, BMI is bringing incredible writers to Las Vegas, including Iranian writer Manira Ravanpour, in conversation with one of my favorites, City of Asylum fellow Mariam Allah Amjadi at the Winchester Dondero Cultural Center on February 11th. BMI also hosts workshops, film screenings, book clubs, and other great literary programs. So visit blackmountaininstitute.org for more information. This past November, Nevada went from blue to red, which is really to say we're as purple as ever. And no one knows this better than Nevada Senator Jackie Rosen. She's a Democrat known for reaching across the aisle. But with the party of Trump in control of both houses and the executive branch, will they even bother to listen to Democrats? Today on CityCast Las Vegas, we talk with Senator Rosen about her support of the controversial Laken Riley immigration bill and 3 new bills she's introducing with her Republican colleagues, and how bipartisanship will work for Nevadans in the 119th Congress. It's Monday, January 27th. I'm David Figler, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. United States Senator Jackie Rosen, welcome back to CityCast Las Vegas.
I am glad to be here with you, David.
Always great to see you. Senator, you've made reaching across the aisle a cornerstone of your brand, if you will, which is fitting for a purple state like ours. Is that going to be harder under Trump 2.0?
Well, I hope not. I think that I've been here in the Senate 6 years, and I do think that people know me. I've been one of the most bipartisan, effective, and independent senators, and I have the folks that I work with all the time, and I think that's not going to change. My motto has always been agree where you can and fight where you must. We're going to talk about the bills where there are things that we agree on with Marsha Blackburn, Ted Cruz, Joni Ernst, and we're going to do those things because that's what people expect of us. That's what real leaders do. You figure out what's what you do in your own family. You sit at the kitchen table, you have an issue, you have a problem, you think, okay, what can we do? What do we start on? Let's do that. Maybe there's some things you need to worry about or you can't agree on yet, but you get busy doing the things you can first. And that's been my motto. People know me for that, and we're going to find our way forward here too.
Well, you're the incumbent, and you won, and you were there for at least 2 years of Trump 1.0, and you and I chat sometimes. We kibitz about stuff, and to use another Yiddish word...
We kibitz plenty. We've been kibitzing for a long time.
That's for sure. But one thing, just to use another Yiddish word, that gave you a bit of spilkis was Trump 1.0, that it was really difficult working with Trump the first time around and a lot of the stuff that was happening. This time around, they seem a lot more focused, directed, energized, and they've learned some, things from their first time around. Do you think we as Las Vegans should be a little more worried or that you might not be as effective?
Well, I hope not, and I don't think so. And I think we better explain that word spilkas for the audience. Unless you use it a lot, it's okay.
I don't use it a lot. It's something that gives you constration.
It's a great word. It means my dad would say it gives you ants in the pants. You can't get moving like you're worried. It gives you a lot of heartache. So that's the Yiddish word spilka. It's a great word. All Yiddish words often sound exactly like what they are. But in this case, I think that as I've talked to some of the nominees, we just voted in Sean Duffy to be Secretary of Transportation. And he's a former congressman. I've had quite a few chats with him. I already chatted with him today about some of our projects going forward and the funding infrastructure, roads, airports, broadband, all of those things, really important. So we know we're going to work with him on that. Marco Rubio has been a partner with me on a lot of bills. We've had a lot of conversations with him we'll work with him, now Secretary of State. And so some of the nominees will be a little bit more challenging, but we're going to find the places always always fighting for Nevada first. So you talk about the infrastructure, well, almost how many millions more every year, millions more people at all of our airports. Reno Airport, I know we're in Las Vegas, it's almost 5 million people through the Reno Airport. So I'm going to figure out what we need for Las Vegas. I'm going to focus in on that and try to find my common ground with folks.
All right. Nothing you've heard so far from Trump himself that's given you any significant, specific concerns about Nevada?
Well, I can tell you overall, birthright citizenship is giving me, as you say, the spiel, because really, I mean, come on, this is the 14th Amendment. You're born in this country. You're a citizen of this country. He can't executive order away a constitutional amendment. The other thing I would say is the bipartisan infrastructure law. This is another thing I talked with now Secretary Duffy about today, that he was going to pause funding. Well, I can tell you the I-15, we all know it needs expanding. The I-80 is getting a bunch of money up north, again, needs expanding. We've got projects, interstate projects throughout Nevada, really important. Our broadband, that's all in process throughout Nevada, north and south, working on that. I'll talk about our airports again. We're in building out, improving our runways, our safety, our air traffic control towers. And so I talked with him about the real nuts and bolts things in that bill. We can't stop that funding from coming. There may be some other issues that the president wants to address, but we need that infrastructure money coming towards us. Secretary Duffy will be clarifying that, I hope, pretty quickly.
Now, I want to talk about the bills that you are introducing and co-sponsoring. But before we do that, I really want to talk about something that's been a big topic of conversation here in Las Vegas. Let's talk about the Laken-Riley Act, which you voted for, which mandates the detention of undocumented migrants who are even just accused of petty crimes like shoplifting. According to a Pew report from last year, Nevada has the highest percentage of undocumented folks in our workforce of any of the states. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering, how is this bill good for us here in Nevada, and how do you justify voting for it?
Well, I can tell you that if you're a criminal, you should be held accountable, period. If you're here, you're undocumented, you've committed a crime, we need to keep Nevadans safe. We need to keep our communities safe. We do know that at the southern border, people have been taking advantage of transnational gangs, terrorists, and the like. And we have to be sure that we keep Nevadans safe. We tried very hard to make this bill a better bill. We're going to continue to work. Trump, as you're going to see with the executive orders, I don't know, did he do over 100 in the last few days? We can't even keep count. My team is making a spreadsheet, actually, where we're going to have a page on each one, the impact to Nevada and what our response should be, whether it's something that's going to go through the courts, something that will go through with us. We're going to find our path forward. He's trying to create a lot of chaos by putting a lot of executive orders forward. But Laken-Riley, I think that we did feel that it was important that criminals be held accountable.
Well, and here we are, talking about people who were just accused of shoplifting, not even a conviction, et cetera. A lot of critics have said that this is going to impact a lot of people in Las Vegas without the normal due process considerations. I mean, do you think Nevada has an undocumented immigrant crime problem?
Well, I think you have to look across the country. And this is something that can happen anywhere at any time. And if you are, I know you're also a lawyer. I know all the great things that you've done as a defense attorney. But I would argue that you have to have a reason to arrest someone. And so we're going to work on this. We're going to see if we can find a way to make it better. We're always going to fight to take care of people. But at the end of the day, we know that there have been violent crimes committed. we know that there's also folks peddling drugs, doing all kinds of other things, and we have to figure out a way forward with this.
Okay, I'll let you off the hook on that. But you're right. I don't think shoplifting, which is specifically listed in this bill, is the same as some of those crimes. And I'm sure, there's a lot of circumstances why someone may have shoplifted in the past a very small amount and now is being kicked out of the country, someone who is a contributing member of our community. I mean, we're not expecting those people who come to this country to be perfect, are we? Better than Americans?
I think what we have to do is look, Trump has already been talking about mass deportations in the first, barely 48 hours, 2-3 days in office, right? And so when we think about the horror of mass deportation, and I believe, we're trying to, you put out so many executive orders trying to really sort through this, but saying that now they can go to schools, they can go to churches, houses of worship, kids' schools, and see if there's somebody, janitor or someone who works there. And imagine the trauma that someone's just being carted away from the school building, or you go to church and people are just rounded up. I think we have a bigger issue than this. We have to focus on what this horrific mass deportation, what that is. This is the bigger issue we have to fight back on. That's what we're working, all of us senators together. What can we do? This is horrific. We do not want to see this anywhere. And you can see throughout history, anytime this has been done, a lot of innocent people are hurt. And we don't want to see that happen. So I'm going to focus more on Trump's horrific mass deportation executive orders and see what we can do there.
Do you plan your vacations based on whether you can speak the local language? With Babbel, language no longer has to be the barrier. I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast, and I went to Mexico City a couple of years ago with my girlfriend, who's a native Spanish speaker. So I just let her do all the talking, like all of it. I adored the city, and now I'm going to go back in a couple of months, but with my college roommates, who are a bunch of middle-aged men, none of us Spanish speakers. When I was younger, I might not have been bold enough to do that, but now I'm not anxious because Babbel has me covered. Thanks to Babbel, I know how to order a taxi, how to give directions, how to order in a restaurant, all the small and useful bits of language that make international travel easier. Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons, handcrafted by over 200 language experts, get you to begin speaking your new language in 3 weeks or whatever pace you choose. And because conversing is the key to really understanding each other in a new language, Babbel is designed using practical, real-world conversations, especially the sort you need while traveling. Food, how to get places. Babbel's tips and tools are inspired by the real-life stuff you actually need when communicating. With a focus on conversation, you'll be ready to talk wherever you go. So I hope I'll see you in Mexico in a couple of months. Or, as we say, espero verte en Mexico en un par de meses. So let's get more of you talking in a new language. Babbel is gifting CityCast listeners 60% off subscriptions at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/CityCast. Spelled BABBEL.com/CityCast. Babbel.com/CityCast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
This episode is brought to you by Hill's Pet Nutrition. Every shelter pet deserves a second chance, and you're making it possible for thousands of them every day. Because when you feed your pet Hill's, you help feed a shelter pet, which helps make them healthy, happy, and more adoptable, changing their life forever. So they can change yours. Over 15 million shelter pets fed and adopted. Science did that. Visit hillspet.com/podcast to learn more.
Let's move on to the things that you're most proud of this session. You've released not just one, but 3 bipartisan bills this past month. And I'm, first of all, curious a little bit about the nuts and bolts of bipartisan bill making. I mean, I'm wondering if, do you have to sneak messages over without your colleagues giving you a side eye? I know the Senate has a little tram that goes underneath you, leave a message for a Republican colleague or something?
I'll tell you, and I want to tell all your listeners that there's 100 of us in the Senate, and I served on 6 committees. I've served on many more than that overall, but 6 committees for the first 4 years I was here, 4 committees the last cycle, and now I've moved some committees around, and we're on task force and all kinds of other things. And so there's only 100 of us. You really do get to know each other. You hear about their family, their kids, their grandkids. People are going home for a holiday, their grandkids' birthdays. So regardless of what you see on TV, we actually know each other as coworkers, just like anyone does when they work at a place. So you know from your coworkers the kinds of things that you're going to agree on. So we're going to talk about the 3 bills we're going to talk about, and I'll tell you just this generally, and you're going to see this throughout the year, and I'll come back on. At the end of every congressional session, all the bills that don't pass into law, they just go away. They're just gone. And then what we do is we look at the ones that we think we can reintroduce, and we look at over 90% of the bills I have are bipartisan. And of course, you're not going to reintroduce them all the first day. We're going to put them in an order and then slowly, gradually reintroduce them and try to get them done again. So the first thing we picked really were about bringing relief for families and for workers. So the Constructs Act with Marsha Blackburn, Tennessee, the No Tax on Tips with Ted Cruz. Yes, we can work with Ted Cruz, and we're going to push it for that to pass. And the Small Business Child Care Investment Act with Joni Ernst. So we chose those first because they give relief for working families, financial relief, emotional relief when it comes to childcare and some of those. So that's how we pick the first few, and we'll continue. You'll see as we do more.
Well, let's hit them quickly one by one.
Yeah.
The first one you mentioned is the Constructs Act. It aims to get more people into construction jobs, as I understand. I imagine that this is certainly going to help with the housing pipeline in the years to come. I'm wondering, though, is there anything that could be done now to help Las Vegans who are struggling with the cost of housing?
The Construct Act, there are things that we can do now, and there's things that we are going to reintroduce. We know that for affordable housing, few things. We know the interest rates, keeping interest rates lower, that's going to affect when people buy supplies and when you go to get a mortgage. So interest rates are one. We have corporate investors who are coming to Nevada, buying up all the homes. We see sometimes there's like a whole block or 2 blocks owned by corporate investors. That's fine. But if they try to price gouge people either on a sale or rent, we have the Home Act that holds them accountable. That money, the fine they pay, goes back into a bucket for affordable housing. And so we have a few things like that. And for us also public lands, which is a whole nother topic. We have to have more land to build on. But the Constructs Act, we know for sure that none of those houses build themselves. Nothing built. Did your mom tell you that bed doesn't make itself? That homework doesn't do itself. You better go get it done. Well, those apartments don't build themselves. And so we have to have a workforce, a pipeline for people to have these good paying careers, get right into them and have the training. So these are grant programs to set up either increase apprenticeships, whether it's apprenticeships, community college, whatever the right place is for that. There'll be a grant program for education and training, put people into jobs. And I will say it's really going to help us in Nevada where we're so short of affordable housing. But the reason Marsha Blackburn and I are on this, and it's such a bipartisan bill, and sadly you've seen the wildfires in California, but you've seen floods and hurricanes and natural disasters. We're going to have to rebuild homes all across this country, urban and rural. And they don't build themselves. You need people, and you need skilled people to do it right. So that's why this bill, we're hoping we'll get it over the finish line, because the need is just so great, and we can put all the other money into it. But if you don't have the people to do it, and these are great jobs, then you can't execute, right?
Yeah. Let's talk quickly about the bill you co-signed with Texas Senator Ted Cruz. It's the No Tax on Tips bill. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You also made sure that there were some safeguards in there so that CEOs and other people who make lots and lots of money aren't going to take advantage of this.
Their whole salary as a tip. Elon Musk cannot say his whole salary is a tip.
Yeah, no, that's not a tip. No, I like that.
That's not a tip, sir. Not a tip.
One thing I want to get into is that some economists and critics have said that this will worsen our budget deficit. The GOP has kind of gotten in front of this. Do you think that there's some financial security that may be sacrificed here because of that?
I just want to tell you this. Before you criticize somebody working in a Las Vegas coffee shop and not letting them keep more money in their pocket, and Elon Musk and all the folks you saw behind Donald Trump on that stage, billionaires who probably pay little to no income tax and their corporate tax probably about the same. This is about making them pay their fair share, not penalizing our waiter or waitress who's working hard in a coffee shop every day, or as a waitress or as a bartender. And so let's be clear. This is about bringing relief for workers, people working hard, getting up every damn day, going to work. Their money is tip workers, their salary's not guaranteed. One day is a good day, one day's not. You don't know. And so they need to have that relief, put that money back in their pocket. And I can tell you, like I said, I saw Elon Musk on that stage. He should be paying his fair share.
Well, there's also the nonprofit childcare one that you mentioned. But, bottom line, Senator Rosen, Democrats are facing a tough year ahead. What is something that you're looking forward to in 2025?
Well, I can tell you that I'm going to continue to work with my coworkers. We have a lot of new women. I'll just leave you with this story. So we have a lot of new women in the Senate. And one thing that we do as women senators is we have bipartisan Senate women's dinners about every other month. And so we'll revive that now with the new women that are here. And it's really great. We leave our politics, our purses at the door. We all go out. We either go to someone's home or we go somewhere. We have a meal. Sometimes we've gone to Library of Congress or the Pentagon. We have people give us a tour of something. And we really get to talk about the things we care about and get to know each other. And so when we do that, this isn't just another way that we find things like Joni Ernst and I talking about the child care bill, or Marsha Blackburn about building the homes. We're just sitting down, a bunch of women together, talking about the challenges that that our communities face. We realize our commonality, and then we can come out and build those bridges. So I'm looking forward to restarting our bipartisan women's dinner, getting to know the new women that have come to the Senate this time. There's, I think, 3 new women, if I'm not mistaken, and getting to know them and bringing them into the fold. And it's really, well, everybody comes and it's really great. So I want to leave people with that. The women work really hard to get to know each other and try to build those bridges to get good things done. And you see it with a lot of the bills that I do.
Love hearing it. Love that you're persisting.
I am.
U.S. Senator Jackie Rosen, thanks for coming on CityCast Las Vegas. We'll look forward to talking with you again as the season proceeds.
Absolutely. We'll see you soon, David, and hang on to your spilkas, as they say.
Yeah, all day long. That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend? You could also rate our show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Till then, stay lucky.
It's been very cold here, about 10 degrees today, so we're all struggling a little bit.
How does a Nevada desert rat like you do it?
It's not easy. It's not easy. And then
calling on your old Minnesota days.
That's exactly right.